There's a lot of information that is asking you to react, but you have to decide whether it's even worth reacting. Hi, my name's Dee and welcome to Sunchild Tarot. Now, this is a general reading for Cancer, Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus, North Node. If you don't know what the Rising, Venus, North Node, etc. are for your chart, there's a link in the description down below so that you can go and find them out. It's always a good idea to watch your Sun and your Rising at the very least. Now, this is a general reading, so general reading rules apply. You know, timing is not absolute, not by a long shot. Roles can be reversed. I can say that someone's doing something around you and that's you doing the thing and vice versa. But what I'd like you to do is to come to me with a question. So pause the video if you have to for a moment. Think about all of the questions that are going around you at present and pick one of them. Focus on it because energy in, energy out. But be aware of all of them because the cards will answer what they want. You know, not necessarily what you and I think. I'm sure there was something else I was about to say, but it's completely escaped my mind. I'll come to it. So what I'll do, oh yes, this reading either is for you or it isn't. If the past and the present don't fit, then it's not for you. Don't try and make it fit. It's for another Cancer. It's just not for you. Okay, so check out your rising sign after you've done your birth chart, obviously. Right, let me switch cameras. I'll bring the cards up. It's a really, really good spread. You've got quite a lot of major arcana. You notice we've got a divine pairing. Your energy at the moment is in the state of the Emperor, moving into the state of the Empress after passing through the Magician in the meantime. Your alternate future, that's potential future, sorry, is the word that I want to use. Is one that will come around when the time is right, you know, and that's something that you will know. And we've got the Hanged Man here in the past. That's it for your major arcana. But let me look first at the oracle cards because I haven't really looked at these. The ones that jumped out: the Guardian Angel of Health. My attitudes about myself are rich in love and acceptance. And the Angel of Serenity. I feel serene and tranquil when I accept who I am. So obviously there's some emotional processing going on here for those two cards to come forward. And quite possibly some release that has to occur. That came out reversed. And I don't normally deal with reversed cards whatsoever. So that's a special event for me, a reversed card. Lotus flower with unfoldment, so again that idea of release and emotional processing. And then medicine guardian even, be open to healing information. There's a big health vibe going on here. And then out of the God cards that jumped out, which, well, I've started calling them the God cards because I'm attracted to these sort of oracle decks. Ursula with prosperity and Orpheus with music. So with Orpheus, as well as the music aspect, there's always the fact that he faced a choice of dedicating himself to something and he fell at the last hurdle, but the love that he had that caused that whole mission to go forward was phenomenal. So we'll find out how that features because, like I said, at the moment you're in the space of the Emperor, but I want to go to the recent past first because the relevant past looks a lot more stressful. Oh, and on the bottom of the decks, 10 of Wands, King of Swords, Knight of Swords. So there's a lot of swords, there's a lot of information flying about. There's a lot of information that is asking you to react, but you have to decide whether it's even worth reacting. And that's the impression I'm getting from this King of Swords. It's like, do I even want to bother reacting to this? Which is backed up with all this health business and release. But you were waiting for ages for a new start that came, which almost appeared like wish fulfillment, which sent you surging forward. But it also sent you surging forward, trying to solve some riddles, find some things out. and to really open yourself up to information coming to you. With this Knight of Wands being a Sphinx, there's the element of the riddle. There's obviously the element of surging forward with the Knight of Wands and accomplishing, not just surging forward, but surging forward and getting things done. But with the way that he is quite stable on a plank of wood, but a plank of wood, well, floorboards, that is floating in the air. That whole, you've got a stable foundation to launch yourself into the cosmos, to launch yourself into a whole new way of perceiving things and a whole new way of receiving information. But there was that stable foundation. At the moment, I feel it doesn't feel as stable as what you were hoping or as what you believed it to be, but you are being lifted up, and that's why the ground doesn't feel so stable, because it's not there beneath your feet at the minute. Your feet are floating a couple of foot above it. You are being called to exercise your power, but I think the power you need to exercise is more holding your position rather than actually issuing any great decree or issuing any great decision. It's like, no, this is where I'm choosing to stand. This is where I'm choosing to investigate and receive information. I will do my best to stay here for the moment, because this King of Cups that's right below it, I'm feeling like, oh, and it's got the Ace. Let's see what the clarifying cards are, because I've noticed the Ace of Wands just pop out and King of Swords again. But I'm feeling like that you need to, rather than being the King of Cups, you're to step into the role, or you are stepping into the role of the King of Cups, which, yeah, obviously cups, dreams, love, but it's a card of emotional resolution, that no matter what is going on around you, your emotions are stable with this, because you are entering into a time of power with the Magician here, which you need to make sure that your emotions are stable before you try to exercise your power. You may be at the moment, I don't want to say asserting your power, you're consolidating your power. You're making sure that your footing is indeed stable and that you are indeed where you want to be. And although the ground doesn't feel so stable under your feet, it is there. It's not far away. There are hazards that you need to be aware of, but you can very easily step, or in the case of the Pegasus, fly over them. So having that emotional resolution, maybe this Angel of Serenity going, okay, if that's how it is, that's how it is. Now, how do I feel about that? And how's that going to affect my actions? Because I think at the moment, okay, yes, there's conflict and debate around you. 5 of Swords, 5 of Wands, but the Sun. Things are coming out into the open due to debates and conflicts that are around you. And I'm not going to say that all news is good news, but all of it is to a good effect. All of it is providing answers, even though somebody else is advising you that you're being led along by the nose with what you're looking into, with what you're trying to find out at the moment. Remember, this Knight of Wands, you're surging forward, and I believe you're surging forward on a quest for information, among other things. It's not just a quest of information, but there's a lot of swords there on the bottom of the deck. And obviously, how you're feeling was a 5 of Swords. So, there's definitely information, facts, maybe a legal struggle, but I don't really get that. I haven't seen the Justice card appear anywhere yet. But someone thinks that basically you're on your own on what you're doing because you're being led along by the nose, but you're not being led along by your nose. You are in a quest of resolving things and making peace with whoever it is that is telling you that you're going on a wild goose chase when you're not really. Okay, let's have a look at the clarifying card. So this Emperor, like I say, it feels Four of Pentacles and the Moon. Right. Like I said, the ground feels unstable on your under your feet at the minute, but that's because you're being lifted up so that you do not trip over any hazards. So that to a certain extent, that's an illusion with the Moon card, but you are bringing two things together. You are working out the good and the bad of a situation, and Four of Pentacles saying that you are quite capable and able to protect what is important and save those things that are necessary. Because, like I said, Ace of Wands, King of Swords, we've done that bit. The period of time you're coming into with the Magician, Strength, and the Nine of Pentacles. So a lot of inner work, a lot of strength required to go ahead with this, but you're also making peace with some of your lower instincts, or what we are trained to think of as lower instincts. If you look at this in the in other tarots, sometimes it's called strength, sometimes it's called lust. But here, this woman is, maybe she's removing the thorn out of it. Yeah, it is removing the thorn out of the lion's paw. It's giving that lion freedom to move and being at peace with that lion as well. So it's like what we would often class, rightly or wrongly so, as higher urges, how one should behave, how one should feel, all the shoulds, as well as all the spiritual aspects of love, light, compassion, blah, blah, blah. But also the fact that we live in a physical world. We have wants and desires. We have fears, some for stupid reasons, some for practical reasons, and some are just lessons that we've learned along the way that we can either keep or discard. But you are coming to a time shortly where you will be required to take a stand, but this is only after you've done all of this work. So with the Empress, we have Six of Pentacles, Ace of Swords. Yes, finally, the last piece of information that you are after arrives for you. And it puts you in a position where you are able to help somebody else and be helped by the act of helping somebody else. Here on this Six of Pentacles, you are both the person giving the cake and the person receiving the cake, or is that pie? It might be pie. Curiously, it looks moon-shaped. So again, there's that image of the tame and the wild and the bringing two things together. But you are helped by helping someone due to the information that comes to you, which does... That information is something that you've been after because it activates the harvest. It's activating that Empress card. Leading you into a Ten of Cups time. The Hanged Man reversed. Again, I don't deal with reversed cards. That's the second reversed card that's popped out. All the others are the right way up, aren't they? Yep. So an end to confusion. An end to being forced to look at the world in weird ways when you can look at it quite clearly. And it brings happiness. Right, I mean, Ten of Cups, Ten of Pentacles, you don't get much better than that. Ten of Cups is that one stage better than wish fulfillment. That one stage of, yeah, that's what you thought you wanted, but here's what you really need. Ten of Pentacles. Now, this is a curious one, because when I first saw this card, yeah, they're dwarves in a mine, and dwarves love being in a mine. Dwarves love being underground. They love their caves. They love being in the great architecture. But here's my geek showing. They reminded me of the gnomes from Dragonlance, who are also a little, but mainly underground dwellers, but also a little bit extravagant. and they're constantly inventing. And they are constantly inventing absolutely useless things or things that tend to blow up. But they are constantly inventing, constantly being creative. But with that dwarf and pentacle aspect, you are inventing by using the resources that are around you to enable you to take a stand if you so choose, because your resources are firm. But there's page of wands can also be information coming to you, but this I get the impression from that page of wands that it's something that initially you want to ignore, especially since it's followed with a potential future, these two piles of cards, a future to grab or a future to avoid. So you wait for the right moment to act, because illumination will only come in that silence of waiting, and then you can exercise your power. But the importance is that you, whatever this information, second lot of information here, because like I said, you're getting the answer that you're searching for, then you help someone, then you get another lot of information, and then you need to just sit and think and go, okay, let me digest this for a few days. Let me just work out, because I'm particularly drawn to the cogs at the back of this Emperor's throne, with the way that they form a crown for him. Let me literally let the cogs turn over and let me work out what I think about this, what I feel about this, but more how I'm going to. Is that camera going in and out? How I'm going to react to this, because whatever this information is, although you initially want to ignore it, eventually you see that there is a good side to it and makes you go, hey, yes, I can do this. Now I know where I'm going. Or your other option. So this is two potential futures. Whatever this information is that initially you want to ignore, you allow that information to hurt, driving you inside, driving you to seek your own light and to seek your own light elsewhere, where you will receive recognition, but you are not asserting your power in the way that you are wanting to assert your power. You're almost putting yourself into a whole new environment out of rather than freeing yourself from whatever this second piece of information is. And I do think there's with this Three of Swords, I mean, sometimes you'll see in another reading I've called him a swamp monster thingy that's climbing out of the swamp to give the Three of Swords, whereas here I feel that this is someone lifting themselves out of the swamp to get away from the three swords that are behind, not because they're trying to escape, but they've put them in the swamp because that's where they belong, because they don't need them anymore. Let them sink, let them go away. I'm now going to get out and free myself from this. So, hopes and fears. Four of Pentacles, Three of Swords, Nine of Swords. Right. Will you be able to protect everything that you have built so far and everything that you are still building in the light of what information comes to you? I think I've answered that already. I think the answer has to be yes, you can, as long as you are doing the work right now. So there's a, with that Knight of Wands and going into the cosmos, there's that element of mystery, you know, the final frontier, boldly going where no one's gone before, sort of thing. And so there is always that element of mystery, and you have to be okay with that mystery to become okay with the answers to that mystery. And then the extra bit of information that comes, the sequel, let's call it, you know, or the little footnote at the end of the book, the appendix, what have you. But your final outcome is putting an end to some form of torment and putting an end to some form of, right, I don't want to say threat to you. That just seems the wrong, some form of spectre of the past. So, because this king, and it is a king that's on the floor here, because we've got a crown there. He's old. He's the past. He feels very, very Saturnian. He is things that came from long ago and belong long ago. They've had their time. They've been and gone. So it may feel like a burden to move ahead, but you do have good companions, good friends that will assist you with this moving forward. And bear in mind, you've probably made these friends by whoever it is that you helped, that you ended up being helped by it. So let's have a look at the distant past. Right, you've taken a stand before when you felt that you was on a stable footing, but the results that you wanted didn't really come around. You didn't have the freedom of movement that you were requiring, which caused you quite a bit of torment and quite a bit of, I'm responsible for this, you're responsible for that. Accusation and guilt. So guilt and guilt tripping. Blame. That's the word I'm looking for. Blame. Blame and who is at fault. And it's almost like to make the peace, or to have some peace, you're put yourself into a very smoky atmosphere. 6 of Cups from the Steampunk Tarot, which just has so end of smokestacks in the background here, and that's what I'm drawn to. And everything's very hesitant, and it's not even that people are on their best behavior. It's like people aren't quite sure how to behave, and so they're very cautious, very hesitant, very I'd like to give you this if you want, but you don't have to. You don't have to take it. Do you know what I mean? Nothing's meant by it. I just want to give you that if you want it. Really, really cautious. But you were doing this to protect somebody else, or somebody else is doing this to protect you. I'm seeing 7 of Swords with this guy sneaking away from the campfire where 2 wolves are sleeping. And it's almost, I feel like he's taking away the sharp things so that the wolves can't hurt themselves, ignoring the fact of the claws and the fangs. But that's their choice to do that, not an accident that's going to happen. So there's some form of protection going on there. Now, and where that set you up into all of this, we've got the Hanged Man. Like I said, you had to wait for ages for this new beginning coming, which was some form of wish fulfillment. But you were slowly being led to it in time, but you did feel like you were chained somewhat by circumstance. And I think there might have been, while you was in that waiting period, there could have been some habits that you picked up that, okay. Let's have a look at what all these cards are. Good Lord, a lot of them came out. There are some habits that you picked up during this period that maybe won't serve you so well now. But it did give you a good grounding and a form of rebirth, which is what that rebirth is completing now. Luck has come your, so this is the past, has come your way with this, and you had already started making the links with those friends that are around you that will support, those people who will support. But you had to take aim at what was causing you the pain there and then, which I think is sort of tied into this new beginning that you have, and sort of another story that was going on at the same time with the new beginning that you've had. but recently you've come into a point of reconciliation. Page of Swords in this demon possessed tarot is the Goetic spirit Botis. Gives answers of past, present, and future, reconciles friends and foes. So there was obviously discord here in the past that you had to wait for illumination to actually help you see where that discord was. Because it wasn't immediate, although that there was discord on the surface, the reasons for that discord, what that discord was coming from, weren't quite as obvious. You know, you can say that people are sniping at each other because they're sniping at each other and they're all being irritable, but it's the source of that irritability that it took time to open up. But like I say, prosperity is on its way with all of this. If it's already touching where you are, and it's only going to increase from what I'm seeing here. But this whole thing, imagine this whole situation, this other story with the torment and the new beginning that you've had that was some form of wish fulfillment, and the new information that's going to come in that answers things, and then that other bit of sequel that you can ignore or pick up, or maybe you just need to digest for a while. It's a symphony. Think of it as a piece of classical music. You've recently had a crescendo going into the nice gentle bit where the audience can just rest their ears and be carried along with the music, and it's now starting to build and starting to build again. Okay, a good techno tuners will do the same thing, especially ambient techno. But let's be cultured and say classical music, eh? And you're coming up to another crescendo again, but this crescendo is more expansive. It's more joyous. The first one was all about challenge and, big kettle drums and cymbals going, showing the storm and the threat and the sense of impending doom. Whereas now we've got this sense of unfoldment, sense of opening, sense of the sunlight on everything. Sunlight is the best disinfectant. All right, let's see what other gods are operating with you at the moment. Laertes, faithfulness. You've got more friends than you think. And I think it also shows that you have been faithful to your ideals. Right. Again, what I was saying with the crescendo thing and the coming into abundance, and the fact that although the ground feels like it's been swept under your feet at the moment, that's because you've been lifted up. Sedna, with infinite supply, you are supplied for today and all of your tomorrows. Skadi, atonement. There is atonement occurring. Whether it's yours, whether it's someone else's, there is atonement occurring. Allow that to happen. Have compassion to it. Renewal is on offer. But yes, you have been and are going to be delving into your own underworld with this. Right, so the final lot of oracle cards, and then I'll shut up because we're on, 26 minutes already. The end of a tough cycle approaches. Okay, I don't need to discuss that one. Nourishment and Kushiel, the angel of punishment. Remember what I was saying about all that blame? With a lot of this, anyone who's guilty of something, they're going to be punishing themselves here. I don't think you can let the laws of karma, the divine, whatever, and it's going to be each of these individual people at their own point. They'll punish themselves, but that's remember, atonement. Sharing of yourself. So remember what I was saying about this coming through into an opening up time. Strength we've discussed. Again, referring to that sympathy. I am a work in progress, but I am on the right path. Right. So behind a mask and fear, like I said, the sources of those irritation need to be isolated and discovered. But that process is pretty much complete. Now it's a matter of you just digesting that information and being emotionally okay with it and being emotionally okay with the mystery of it. And it's only if you're going, oh God, I need to solve this mystery, you won't. Because you need to be okay with the majesty of mystery, King of Cups, for you to then get the answers, this Eight of Swords, and later this Page of Wands, to get the answers that you require. Use your intuition, Master number 22. So the answer, your intuition is going to lead you along to these answers, but again, from that position of acceptance. Call in your soul family, call in your tribe. You don't have to do it alone. We've said how there are friends here. Mother Mary, love and peace. Let go of the need to be right. Choose peace. Mother healing is possible at this time. So again, reinforcing what we were saying about emotionally okay with the majesty of mystery. I think I'll call it that, the majesty of mystery. The sun, echoing the sun on, sunlight being the best disinfectant, but also third chakra, Archangel Shamuel. You are working on that solar plexus chakra. You are working on your sense of power, emperor to empress, projecting power to receiving power. And not just receiving power, blossoming power. The power of the harvest, the power of fruition, the power of growth. Earth, well, that echoes what I just said, really, doesn't it? Wisdom, don't need to explain that one. Watchtower of the East, spring. This is a whole new time that you're coming into. Again, we've got that sunlight, sunshine feel to it. Things are coming out into the open. Once you are okay with the majesty of mystery, I'm so going to call it this, then that's when you start getting your answers. And then other things you may want to just leave as a mystery, and your reaction to them as facts come through will slowly sort themselves out. Okay, so if this means anything to you, Cancer, because it's been quite specific, if this means anything to you, please do comment down below. Please press subscribe while you're there, because it does help the channel. I'm a young channel, and hey, I want to get my readings out to people. Your next reading will be your full moon reading, I think. Yeah, because the waxing moon readings have just been released. And have a look when I get round to it at your eclipse effect reading. Although this is you can tell that you've been through 2 eclipses and the Saturn and Pluto conjunction with all this business. But like I say, I think things are going to get easier for you. Okay, I'm going to shut up now because the video is long enough. Best of luck. Like I say, if you have a choice between moving and not moving for the short term, not move. Stand still, listen, feel, but not necessarily move just yet. The time will be really obvious when you go, okay, now I know where I'm going. And now I will shut up, okay? Cheers.